1.
Hello, and welcome to Nerds with Dice. Enjoy the show today. Also, check out the casting call for Emergent. You can find it on Blue Sky or in our Discord. And links for Merge, YouTube, and Discord will be found in chat. They'll pop up regularly, so you can look at that. Tonight, you are here to watch a Vildheim game. Vildheim is a TTRPG system created by Awfully Queer Productions, and it just went through Kickstarter, got funded. I already got my dice, I got my PDF. I'm waiting for the book. I would absolutely show you the book if I had it. However, so we are now having our very first campaign in Vildheim. We had 2 1-shots so far. Um, you might meet at least one person you have met before if you watched our 1-shots. However, this is Valkyrja and Ashen. This is our story um, about a group of shield maidens who awake in the snow by an ancient battlefield. They feel like they were once Valkyries, Valkyrja, divine reapers of the slain. If who knows what you know. They feel like it, you know, but their memories are murky. They must piece together who they were, what they've become, what happened, and why the world no longer holds the gods that they remember serving, that nobody, not even them, remembers the names of. I'm Vivesha. I'm going to be your storyteller today, and I'm going to let my lovely players introduce themselves. All right, Alex, take it away.
Hey, howdy, hi, y'all. My name is Alex. I use they, them pronouns. I am today playing Ariane. They also use they, them pronouns, and I am super excited to be here.
Awesome. Next, we got Merm.
Hi, everybody. My name is Merm. I use she, they pronouns. I am playing Yonna, who uses she, her pronouns. And what I'll say is bear. I'm very excited.
How are you going to top that, Torin?
Well, now I just have to meow the entire time. No. Hello, everyone. My name is Torin. My pronouns are she, they. As far as who I'm playing today, I am playing Korota, whose pronouns are she, her. And I'm sure it'll be a spooky little time, y'all.
Yeah, and last but not least, our lovely voice in the sky, our tech goblin, and one of our players, Keldry.
Hi, I'm Keldry. I will be your space case this evening.
All right. Are we ready? We've been
Yeah.
waiting so hard for this game.
Yeah.
But before we do that, let me give you guys one more thing. Now, since Vildheim is a Norse Gothic inspired game, very much towards The Witcher and Bloodborne and kind of like that, um, you know, we have decided that y'all actually are going to have a little bit of influence over this game. If you subscribe or resubscribe to Nerds with Dice while we're playing, you get to give one of the player a rune card, which is the runes of the Elder Furtalk, and we will get to. They're all upside down. Never mind. Uh, we will then, see how well they do with what happens. Now, heads up, sometimes that rune might not be usable and right in that moment, but we will put it to good use. Now, for our first arc, our rune is Hegelas. Oh, can you see? No, there. It looks like an H. If you want to look that up to get a little bit of a hint of what we're doing, that is up to you, but that's what it actually looks like. Now, let's get started. All right, my players. You wake up in the snow, cold, bruised, but breathing. Around you, the world is silent, except for the wind. The battlefield behind your eyes is clearer, than the one that you wake up on. You can still feel blood on your hands. You think there's dried blood under your fingernails for sure. Can't quite remember why or whose, though. Memories are fleeting. You're pretty sure you were Valkyrja. Probably, maybe, hopefully. Vildheim, you remember. It's not a kind land. The woods whisper, the snow hides teeth. You can kind of remember the people you are with. They feel very familiar. Oh, Vildheim. You were thinking about Vildheim and the blood under your fingernails. Yeah, the woods whisper, the snow hides teeth. That's where you were. You got distracted. The truth is hidden under a cloudy sky. There's not a lot of sunshine in Vildheim. The truth is also scattered through old ruins. It's whispered by spirits and etched into the very bedrock of this world that remembers far too much. So maybe you were a Valkyrja. Maybe you were mortals twisted by gods long since fallen. Or maybe you were never more than people, kind of clutching at this fading divine spark, pretending to be something greater. You don't know. You're not here to save the world. You're here to find out if you ever mattered to it at all. It's time to walk the ash again and try not to die twice. So, there you are. You woke up. You thought you felt blood on your hands. There's no blood on your hands, but there is dried blood under your fingernails. You feel bruised kind of deeper than bruises. It's kind of this very sore, achy feeling. And you wake up on a wide, lichen-covered ridge about a boggy fan. There's like some stunted trees that loud as the wind is blowing through. There's stuff that looks like small cairns that go through, the stone. Snow dusted. The air is kind of sharp. Aside from the wind, it's really, really still and soundless. And there's 3 other people. Now, as you look into each other's faces, let's go around and just tell me, what these people see when they look into your face. Actually, let's go backwards this time. Keldry, when your companions look into your character's face, what do they see?
I think oh, you had a much better description than I did. You see an androgynous, fairly rectangular face with dull eyes that shift when the color and light of the day waxes or wanes. And dark kind of wood brown hair, but throughout it there's colors that don't make sense, and the skin is just a little off from what you would think of as normal skin tone colors. Hints of like green, purple, blue that don't seem like they should be there. And the eyes flash a strange kind of amber for a second before going back to a very dull gray.
Yes. I did have a very nice description, but I wanted to give you a first. That's your character. We'll use that pretty description later on some point. All right. So as you guys look at Lark, you do remember, Lark's name. Lark cannot see, own face. So But you, as you see, and Lark touches maybe her face or their face. No, air face, right?
AM is my
A.
pronouns. They, them,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
Okay. So it's Aim's face. I'm learning. I'm good. I'm getting get there. And as the hands are coming, actually, as they move, it seems like Lark's fingertips bear like ghostly, like echo runes. Like you can almost see that there are runes on the fingertips, but they're not really there. It's just when Lark would say hymns, it's like it kind of looks like that. And then for Ariane, when Lark turns Im's head, you see behind the left ear, there's like a softly, to your eyes, glowing spiral rune nested between like two lines, and it's slightly shimmers a little bit. The other two, you don't see that. You only see that it almost looks like her fingertips have like kind of ghostly, foggy runes on them. All right, Torin, when the others look at Rota, what do they see when they look at Rota's face?
I think once Rota woke up, there was kind of a, like a gasp. And as she rose up, chest first, there's kind of like the fog around us. The silver, when it gets close to her, it turns black and dark purple, and kind of when you pick something up out of fog, you know how it kind of billows and rolls down and away from them, just like that, and just a little crackle in it as well. And when her face does come forward, she has black, like raven, silky black curl hair just billowing in front of her face. And around her eyes, and like starting in the forehead and going around to the edges to the cheeks, is just different tattoos, circular tattoos. And they all have different shapes filled within them. But in the center is one that's more eye shaped, right in the center. And inside of that is just dark purple and silver kind of swirled on the center. And other than all the different furs and everything that she's wearing, mostly a robe underneath and different things attached to, like her belt. So different instruments, maybe even a book. And I think her hands come up and just she's inspecting her fingernails, kind of like picking at them when nothing's there. And her fingers are just covered in black, and then little things that she's trying to get out of underneath her fingernails. And I don't even think she's looking at everybody. I think she kind of, you can tell she's trying to look at y'all, but kind of her head turns a little bit here and there, like she's listening to something else that's not there.
Remind me, how long is Rota's hair? Is it
It's
like
about
up,
down. No,
straight down?
it's down, and curly hair. It's about to just below her shoulder, just past it.
All right. So as Rota will turn her head, you will see like her hair like swing a little, and Lark will notice that she's wearing a silver cuff on her left ear, and it's shaped like a stylized feather quill dagger hybrid. You're not quite sure what exactly it is. It's like kind of a dagger, kind of a quill, kind of feathery. It's just really interesting, and it has 3 runes on there that you didn't quite catch as you were looking. You also saw just the edge of the glyph on the back of Rota's neck. All right, and then Yona or Yona?
Yona.
Yona. Yona. Yona. When the others look at her face, what do they see?
So when you look at Yona, you get startled a little bit first because you are afraid there's a bear right next to you. Up until like Yona kind of like turns over, you can see that like very large human hands, but the rest of her body is just covered in fur. She has a very tight bun, very like just slicked back hair. It's a very startling juxtaposition when you first see Yona. Beautiful brown eyes. There is a bit of a darker complexion, but you can tell that hasn't been much sun where Yona's been, so they're a little bit on the paler side. Um, and they have tattoos on their hands, and they have quite a few piercings in their ears.
Yeah, absolutely. And when Rota looks over to the really, really tall 7-foot bear wildkin that she's familiar with and remembers her name, you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, huh. I remember her telling me about those 2 metal rings in in each ear. Something about a difficult act, a trial, protection for somebody? Huh. You just remember that there's no enchantment on them, more the pity, but that they're still significant to her. Because you would have wondered about what do they mean? Do they do anything? No, but they're important to Joanna. Also, does Yana have long sleeves or short sleeves?
Short sleeves because the rest of the arm is covered in fur.
So actually, from the tattoos from Jona's hands, there's actually like tattoos, almost brands that go through the fur. That's like intricate, kind of Nordic looking knotwork, and it's wrapped around both biceps. And there's kind of some bear iconography in it. Like it might be a paw, some claw swipes, maybe a muscle. They're very ornamental, so you're not 100% sure, and they're peeking in between the fur, like it was meant to like enhance the look of the fur on arm, to work with it, not to erase it or cover it, but work with the fur on Jonas' arms. And then if Arian looks a little closer, there's actually on the left wrist a small circular brand. Can't quite see what it is, but it is slightly raised and has a pale pink hue. You notice that as in the fur, kind of, it's a brand. It's right there. You can't see. It looks like 2 stylized figures, but you can't see more because it's like probably checking weapons, making sure that's all that you saw. All right. And now, while you're looking at all the others, Arian, what do they see when they look at your face?
So I think what people would notice first about Arian is their eye color. That's a lie, actually. It would have to be the storm clouds gathering around their head. But the second thing you would notice would be their eye color. Their eye color is closer to like the sea at storm.
Mm-hmm.
Like a roiling sort of deep blue that vacillates between turquoise and navy, somewhere between there, depending on mood, depending on lighting, depending on whatever. It's never static. And they have this puff of big coily light purple hair that sort of looks like like storm clouds, just in general. It grows up and it reaches the sky, and they have darker skin, femme of center, but androgynous nonetheless as regards clothing and mannerism. They are brown as tree bark and have like little tattoos or markings, almost like makeup, like something that they would have done for funsies, white markings that go up their cheeks and touch their temples. They also have shaved sides, thinking about it, because they need some place to show off their cool little lineup. Um, and they are wearing long sleeves. Um, Sleeves that sort of cut off like right above the forearm, or right below the forearm, right below the elbow is more accurate.
Mhm.
Uh and long pants with a big, hulking, gorgeous wooden handled scythe behind them, strapped to their back. Yes, that's Ariane.
Yeah. So, Lark, as you look over at Arian, and you remember that this other vet here was very different in mood and emotions than you are. Um, you guys got along fine. You were just very different, and you look over. Arian, tell me about the neckline that you're wearing. It's like, how deep is it? Like, or is it nothing?
So, whatever the Norse equivalent of top surgery is,
Mm-hmm.
Arian has that. So, plunging neckline enough to see like the beginnings of the scars. They
Mm-hmm.
wear those with pride. Very cute.
Okay, awesome. So, so Lark, as you look over, and Arian is probably, kind of adjusting everything and making sure everything's like, why am I in snow? And ooh, you know, you see there's like a necklace-like marking formed from like fine sigil chains, faded but still. You remember they're faintly warm. You don't know how you know that though. Oh, why you would have a reason to know that. However, so you also can see just from the edge, incorporated with that proud scarring that Arian is showing, there's a winding tattoo of shadowy vines, me and W's. I'm too German. Partially like wrapping, like around the rib cage, and coming around. And there's these beautiful leaves on there, and they're all different. Like, you can see they're not all from the same plants. They're all kinds of different ones. And there's like glyphs and runes peekabooing in between them. You cannot really see 100% because they're all like, so, but you definitely can see that. For the others, when Arian moves hands around, there's light ink patterns across index and middle fingers. And you're not quite sure what they mean, but they seem to be useful for something. Now, as all of y'all, kind of get up, brush off, the light dusting of snow, you realize that, your garments are kind of faded and torn in places, scorched in others. You each have a cloak of like an ashen gray color, uh, and they're clasped with like different kinds of rune tokens. There's like different. You're not quite sure what they are, but none of them is the same as your own. And you are dressed still for the kind of cooler weather and the cloudy skies of Vildheim, and like beneath all your layers of wood hide, stitch linen, whatever you're wearing, there's like patterns in like looped embroidery, and they might be glyphs, they might be runes, but they're stitched in like thread of the color of like dried blood, frost, or smoke, like the reddish, grayish, whitish kind of colors. Um, but as you look at each other, you also realize none of them or yourself bear any insignia of clan, kingdom, whatever you want to think of your family. They feel older. They do feel kind of like a uniform because of the cloaks and the same colors, but there's nothing that can show you where it is from. Let's see. So looking at Arian, you realize that whatever Arian is wearing just flows more, like there's almost wind that makes it just the cool pose. Even if there's no wind, there's just more flow to it. Um, there might be edges that are kind of tattered veils or like curled at the edge. It might be kind of charcoal black with maybe there's some copper thread in it. I'm thinking that one of the sleeves actually ends in like a fringe, while the other one doesn't, and that Arian also has like a belt pouch that keeps some maybe unsavory tools in there that not everybody uses, because Arian can be kind of sneaky. Yona, what kind of armor are you wearing? What did you pick?
Some light leather armor.
Some light leather armor. All right. So that leather armor is kind of dulled with age, but well taken care of. Just like it does have cracks, like on one side. Like leather gets when it gets too dry, or it gets, maybe it was too dry and got hit, but there's like a crack down it, and it's been relaced in one of those colors. I let you pick if you want it to be like a blood, frost, or smoke color, but it's like somebody relaced it so that it's still usable because it's comfortable and it has broad protection before. And I am just thinking that it claps kind of highish to make sure it doesn't expose too much for attacks while the arms are still popping out, and then the lower half of the armor is more wrapped like in layered leather bands, so that Yona can move and bend over, and it's not in the way. It's not like a dwarf you have to stand. No, it gives you movement. It gives you the bendability. I am thinking Yona will have mismatched gauntlets on her belt. One is more sleeker and newer. One is scarred with an old rune that's like scratched into the knuckles. And there's no helmet or anything like that. But probably forgotten by Yona herself, there's a circlet of twisted bronze tangled in her hairy fur. Very thin, very light. And I'll let you pick if the gauntlets have fingers or not. That's, flavor.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
claws.
Yeah. I don't think that's the one part that like Yona didn't get that all of her siblings did. So she just has human hands, but bare feet. So
Well, maybe there's some claw equivalent on her gauntlets then to make
Yeah.
up for that.
Mhm.
Maybe they were a gift that you're not 100% sure of.
Yeah.
Right. Looking at Lark, what armor did Lark pick?
Lark has splint feather armor, so while the
Ooh, yeah.
majority of Lark's clothes are browns and dark grays and some greens because of being out in the woods consistently and out tracking or navigating. Um, the armor is actually leather and feathers and tougher than it looks. And on each of the shoulders is a raven skull.
So I'm thinking that cloak is probably fur lined, because warmth. And I'm thinking whatever Lark is wearing underneath would also have like fur lined linen, but or like the leather of the clothes is more like bark textured. It's not as smooth as other people's when they wear leathers. Um, but some of it is like partially shredded, and I'm thinking that to even though you all have the same kind of clasp, you actually have an extra. Yours is not sitting in the middle. You have it more to the side so that you can have freer reign. It's actually also pinned with a broken bone comb, and it's kind of carved with like root-like designs instead of having the straight. What's the word? The pieces of the comb. They're not claws. They are teeth. And they're carved almost like roots. They're not straight. And I would think Lark's boots are laced with like really like pale ochre, like almost like earth clay colored, laces. And they have a satchel at their side that has like dry leaves, stones, and twine in it. And the edge of the satchel has like small braids, with each having a single thorn poked into the braid at their side. All right, and then I got this one, I got that one, I got that one. All right. I absolutely had this written down, and now I cannot find the witch. How can I not? Nope, I got the witch. The lore keeper. Where's my lore keeper? There's my lore keeper. All right. So the lore keeper is wearing stuff that's a little bit more not expensive, but you know what I mean. A little bit more classy, a little bit more higher quality. Not like in your face crimson bullshit, but if you look, you can see that her ripped shit is, was of higher quality. And what armor did you pick?
So Rota has the caster's robes. So it's more of thicker, just cloth, honestly. She doesn't have leather or anything like that on. And it's higher necked, if you will, and comes down and has longer sleeves. And then she actually wears pants. And so the robes are actually cut high slit on the sides. So that way she can move her legs. She didn't want to be bound.
Yeah.
Now I can run. Yeah.
Okay. And what tools of her trade would Rota carry? Like,
so hers are more of these. This is gonna get a little creepy. Just go with me, guys. So hers are more like she carries, instead of a scythe or a sword or anything like that, she has a crossbow and then also a stake as the things that are her main weapons. And then all the things that are across her belts are tokens of people that she has encountered, maybe in the past, I don't know, but they're a bunch of random, seeming more personal collectible things. So a pen from somebody, a scrap of scarf from someone else, maybe tied on. It's a bunch of almost knick-knack type of things around her belts. And then on her fingers, as I described, she has the black fingers, and going down her hands, kind of like, not ichor, but they're definitely stained. And then she has these caps that she'll put on her fingers that are spiked.
I love
They're
that.
silver. Thank you. For no nefarious means of any nature that anyone remembers. It's fine.
Um, I'm thinking that Rhoda's satchel or backpack actually has waxed hide, worked into it, like being a little bit more protective and trying not to get water inside of it. And I will also think that somewhere maybe on your thigh is like you have like a cloth in a very fancy pattern, just like wrapped around, like a reminder. And it's like tied on there, and the fabric or the leather of the pants below actually shows that Rota keeps putting this back on. You don't know why, what it means, but this specific thing is always tied around Rhoda's thigh. Right? And as you guys are just looking at each other and you're realizing you know each other's names, Lark, let's do the very first
Oh no.
roll of the campaign to see if you can figure out where y'all actually are. What would you like to roll?
Homie said, "Oh no!" Like,
Yep. Nope. Always goes well. No problems.
It's fine. I'm assuming either nature or perception, maybe. Would those two be?
You know what? Yeah, let's do nature, because you would be looking around at, you're on this ridge. There's this kind of boggy fern that's down. You would be able to look at the rock and kind of tell, where in Vildheim you are. The different places have different kinds of, geographical stuff. Go ahead and roll me nature, but roll it as a hex, because you know your shit. By the way, Hex and Bane work like advantage and disadvantage.
So roll twice, take the higher.
Yep.
Okay, that's good, because one of those was a 2, and the second one was
job.
a 10. plus,
all right.
plus 1 is 11.
All right. So add an 11, which is amazing. You look around and you're kind of like, huh, okay, this is not the Thunder Peaks. And in your head, you see like visions of these really tall, snow and glacier covered, cold mountains. Yeah, no, there's no bogs and no ferns anywhere close to those. And you realize you are in the worm's teeth. Why did I pick something with a W? Of where you are. They are actually in the middle. If you're looking at the map of Vildheim, they're in the middle. They're close to the capital of Jägersheim. Huh. How do you know that? Well, and to the south, it's a very boggy, marshy, swampy area. So looking at what you can see the kind of ferns. You are in the outskirts of the mountains. You're thinking you're in the some southern part of the worm's teeth, which is in the very middle of Vildheim. Do you share?
Yeah, Lark just kind of I think after staring at Arian for a bit, completely respectfully, because they're just confused and don't know what's going on. When Lark finally looks around and take stock of where everything is going. Were we supposed to be this far south? I don't remember that. And Lark is kind of like their one of their hands is kind of just kind of twirling in a circle as if they were kind of trying to write in the air, but that's not what Lark is doing. Um, it's just something that Lark does when they're trying to think and figure out where they are. And then go, why are we near the worm's teeth?
And as Lark is speaking about the worm's teeth, which is, basically what every traveler in Vildheim can orient themselves in, because they're in the middle. Yona, you would remember that a good chunk of the southern part of the worm's teeth is actually covered in the aptly named troll woods. But the western part is where that fades out. And as you look around, yeah, you ain't in the woods. There's just these straggly, kind of crappy trees around. And
So
you don't like trolls.
yeah. So we're not in like the Trolls Woods at all. We're kind of outside of it, but we can go the wrong direction, basically.
Yeah, if you would be going east for a while at the outskirts of the mountain, you would definitely hit the troll woods. There's also a lot of troll warrens in these mountains. Yona does know a lot about trolls, apparently.
Yeah. Can I sniff to see if I can pick up any direct trails so that we don't go in that direction?
You can absolutely try, yes.
What do I roll?
What do you got?
Not a whole lot. I have perception. That would be good, I think. And then use my wildkin thing.
Yes, that since Yona is a wildkin, has hex on it, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, it has hex on trying to and figure stuff out.
Yeah. Okay, well, that one went good. That's a 5.
It's a 5. With a 5, as you take a deep, kind of probably emptying your nose with a huff first and then taking that deep, and you smell snow, bog, children.
Weird.
Huh. You smell that kind of sticky, dirty
Yeah.
children's smell. And as you take that, suddenly you guys hear like the snap of twigs like across the ridge. And then you hear some voices. And it's they probably hear the snuffling of Yona clearing her nostrils and trying to learn, and you hear like a female voice, a little girl voice saying, "You see that? I told you, Yari. There's people up there, not ghosts, real people." And then you hear, something that sounds more like a little boy. Ghosts are real people, just more efficient. And then suddenly there's like a little whistle, and you catch like a blur of movement, child size, pale hair, flash of green walls, and you see 3 kids like climbing the ridge cautiously, like peeking over. 2 in the front, 1 more hanging back, and they clearly know what they're doing. They know how to get up. They picked a good spot to get up, but they look at you guys like, what are y'all doing here?
I Yona doesn't like kids. So Yona is going to get on all fours, start snarling and charging the three children.
Oh, my heavens.
So yeah, you see there's a boy and a girl in the front. And then there's some more androgynous, non-binary looking in the back. It's not quite as clear. And the front little the smallest girl is just like carries like a sketch pad, and then the little boy has like a little tiny knife, really cute child-sized knife, and is actually like has like a sling in his hands, but it's not prop. There's nothing in it. It's like, oh, I have it, but I'm not even ready to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's in the very back, a little behind, there's a girl that's just still chattering. That's like wearing like a big old hand knitted scarf with like mismatched buttons in it. And as you charge, there's like this two of them, the more non-binary one and the boy, like and kind of fall backwards onto their butts. And the little girl just kind of starts like signing with her hands and whistling, and then gets out her sketch pad and starts drawing stuff very clearly, not as afraid as the other two for some reason. The other two are scared out of their minds. That little girl is more like, I'm trying to tell you something. What are the other ones?
Yeah,
what are y'all doing?
I think with she vaguely remembers Yoda being this way. like, oh, here we go. And oh, not that she's super quick, but we'll find out, y'all. I think Rota almost gathers the fog around her on purpose and puts the clawed caps on her fingers as she gets up, and almost, if she can get in front of Yona, almost does kind of like a matador type of thing with the robes that she has, and tries to basically just like just kind of redirect a little bit, and going to utilize the black fog smoke that she basically kind of has falling around her all the time, around her feet.
Yeah. So
and shiny
I
silver
think
caps.
you wanna like ugh, snot nose, great. But I think that's not the first time that you remember Rota stopping you from taking a good old kick to a kid annoying you. And that was just I'm thinking just habit basically. And as Rota kind of stops you, that little girl is like kind of holds up the the little notepad or the sketch pad that she has, and she kind of shows it to you guys, and it's actually is a pretty good picture, or multiple like little drawings on it of y'all laying down passed out, like you're clearly laying on this ridge. So that little girl saw you passed out basically, and she kind of just,
I'm gonna snatch the kid. Not kidding.
I like going, come on, if,
you did this.
if we're not friendly, you know what? We wouldn't be, And then the little more non-binary one that you think might be a girl too, but you know what? We don't want to be rude and assume. It's just like kind of scared, but then the words come tumbling out. ghost skins and old Gutrimus, that's what Yari says you are. And Yari is just sitting there like, shh, they're not ghosts. They breathe too loud. and Rooney holding that up. And he says, plus, Rooney saw them and drew them. Do ghosts pass out? Silliness. So,
Yona.
and they're still kind
I
of
don't
scared.
know.
They're not
Have you
getting up.
ever-
But they're like,
Yona, I shouldn't have stopped you. I apologize.
Okay.
No, please don't.
You.
I think Lark
again.
is over there was freaking out because Lark, despite the fact that Lark knows Yona, just never remembers that this is a thing. I think, and so it surprises Lark every single time, and Lark is just freaking out, and going, no, and running over to be like, no, wait, oh, okay. Rota's got this under control. Why would you think we're ghosts? Looking over.
and then the boy Yari says, I told you there are not freaking ghost skins. And then Yari's the only one whose name you heard. And then he's kind of like, all right, hi, I'm Yari. That goose over there is Sifda. Doesn't know nothing. And our friend over here is Rooney, and Rooney doesn't speak, but Rooney can make herself very, very well understood. So and yeah, hi. Normally there's nobody up here, by the way. And then Sweetad's like, no, we come here for fossils almost every couple of days, and there's not really people up here ever.
I think Rota kind of bends down to their level. Not intimidating them, I promise.
Not trying to.
No, I promise, not trying to. And asked the non-binary, which is Rooney, I believe.
Sifda, but yeah.
Sifda, I apologize. I wrote them down wrong.
That's
We'll
okay.
just slap them there.
Rooney is the little girl
girl.
with the sketch bot.
Okay. And asked the children, when was the last time you were here? Did you see us?
Well, and she looks at Rooney, and Rooney makes like 3 marks on her paper, and Sifda says, yeah, we were here 3 days ago. We come here in the morning to look for fossils before it's time for chores, and you weren't there 3 days ago. No, you weren't there, and you shouldn't stay out here either. There's nothing here. We can take you to Helbrick. There's someone there. Edda 3's daughter. She know what to do with, people like you.
Rota will turn around and look back at the other 3 and just, well, it hasn't been 3 days. As I'm looking where we came from, just a little spot where we all woke up.
Yeah.
Can I see if there's anything left that doesn't seem to be ours?
Yeah, go ahead and roll for it.
Okay.
I've got perception.
I can try that. That's a D10, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Please be good. Ooh, not bad. 8 + 1, so 9.
Okay. So as you look down, and you're looking at the ridge, and it's really bumpy. It's mostly rock, some snow. I'm thinking you might find like a bead or 2 that might have fallen out of somebody's hair, that has like swirls on it that were decorative. Yeah, and some ash, like a little bit of like a pile, but it's barely there. It's barely there. And that's about it. But as you look around, you do kind of remember that Vildheim has a whole bunch of vast mountain ranges. And, all of them get high enough to be snow capped. So if you look over in the direction, where like north, you can see that, the outcrop of, the ridges at the ending of the outcrops, at the foot of the mountain, you can look towards the mountain and you can kind of see that. And, it's like the ground is like basalt and dark granite, if I remember it right. And again, known for troll warrens, that you would remember that there used to be a lot of bounty hunters and treasure people looking for stuff out here.
Okay.
And a lot of travelers, because it is in the middle of, you do not remember Helbreck, though. Helbreck is not in the name of a town that you guys ever heard. Can't be too big.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Rota is gonna take just a smaller pouch in the collection of everything that she has, and just put the beads in there and just a little ash in there, and just tie them on.
is the ash regular ash or spirit ash?
I'm going to smell it. No, I'm just kidding.
Just inhale that.
Just inhale the spirits.
Just do a line of ash.
Yep, immediately just no.
You want to take the time to check it out now, or do you want to check it out later?
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll offer it to
I'm
Arian if they want.
kind of nosy now, to be honest.
All right. What do you think you're going to roll to figure it out?
Does Intuit make sense?
Yeah, I'm thinking you could probably try and figure it out. At least you remembered Spirit Ash. You don't know where that came from, but you do remember it.
Look at me having a memory. Okay.
It's like, you forgot stuff, but then, other stuff just keeps popping back in.
If you say memory out loud, Rota goes, like snaps like memory, you say.
Okay.
I think you even see her hand kind of flex a little bit, like
Yona just gets behind Rota and is just like, no. No.
So these two with the Laurel and Hardy routine, I'm already remembering. Okay, so I roll into it with Hex.
Nice.
The first one is a 10.
All right. So yeah, you would know that is actually Spirit Ash.
Ooh.
Spirit Ash. Okay, I'm gonna take whatever is left of the pile and throw it in my little pouch.
Yeah. Together you would have like 1 unit.
Oh, okay, nice. This in the inventory.
So, and as you guys do that, and it's like Yari is kind of like watching Rota and saying, if you turn out to be ghost skins or old god dreamers after all, I'm blaming Sweeta. And Sweeta's like, you blame me anyways. And Rooney's just like, and then
tries to smile like in a nice way.
He pulls out like a piece of dried apple to Lark, since Lark is like right next to her, and she just hands you like a piece of dried apple from her snack pouch.
Lark just smiles and goes, "Thank you," and we'll do they'll touch they'll touch their hand to their chin and then move it down as a, like, they're not sure what if any of the signs are the same, but it's this I remember as thank you a while ago.
Yeah, the good thing seems to be that Rooney seems to be just fine understanding, getting annoyed with her two friends when they're bickering. And then
I think when Rooney whistles, Lark just kind of goes
like trying to whistle too,
like just kind of being just kind of to be funny, not to be not to be useful, just because they whistled. Lark is just like, I'm an adult, but I'm also 5.
Real.
Yeah.
All right. So and then as you know, it seems like all right, the big bear lady is not gonna, take them out. Sita, just start the chatting up again. Our uncle works at the mill fork down by the ice bridge. Take us about half a day to get to Hellsprite. We gotta tell him we're headed to town when we pass there, just so that, Gran doesn't worry. But he knows we run fossils to Edda all the time. Like, you don't understand. And then Yari just like, we don't get kidnapped, usually. He means we're fine.
We can.
And Rooney just kind of like,
Well, wait,
was
what
already
kind of
5 paces ahead.
fossils?
Like kind of whistling, kind of like, let's go.
What kind of fossils do y'all find up here?
And then, Yari kind of like, I found a really big thigh bone.
Of what?
And I said it was an animal,
Ah,
but she didn't tell me what kind. But she said she would give it back to me once when she, did the work and the research and the writing to other people and stuff. So I'm gonna hang it up in my room over my bed because it's the biggest fossil we ever found.
mm.
And then, as they're describing, you realize it's like trilobites and like, like fossilized bones, probably some fossilized poop. You never know. Stuff stuck in amber. Nothing super fancy or super crazy, but especially Yari is proud of it, and it seems like he's the one who's driving the fossil hunt, and that the others are pretty much along for the ride. And as you are talking to Yari, and in the front is Rooney just like running back and forth, sometimes taking a rubbing and just whistling really off key, but you realize it's kind of like a melody. And that kind of melody, you know, and then Sifta just kind of starts singing along, and it's like, ghost skins walk with shadows long, old god dreams hum secret song, snow don't melt and bells don't ring, when they pass the dirt berg sing. And then Yari's like, oh, not that again. Step not thrice on stone edged ground, whisper low if runes are found. And Rooney's like, leave no crumbs, no name, no threat, or they'll walk you back from dead. And then Yari's like, this is just nonsense. And then Sifta said, you know what? So maybe we shouldn't have done this so loud out here on the ridge. Kind of silliness. And Rooney is just like happy. No problem. But it's just like this little rhyme that they sing, and I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Rota is probably walking beside Yoda. It's just like, I do apologize. I probably shouldn't have done that earlier. And just like eyes these kids.
I am thinking, some parts sound familiar to Rota, but not a lot. Somehow, when they pass the dead birds sing, rings a bell with you, which I shouldn't be saying because there was also kind of bells don't ring in there, but not on purpose. Was not a hint. But you think somewhere in your stories or in your histories you have heard the dead birds when they pass the dead birds sing before.
Yeah, I think for Rota it's even like, because they're little kids, so they're like up here when they sing it. And I think in Rota's mind, she kind of looks off and it's other voices that kind of start overlaying the same song, and hears it probably like a deeper, older voice.
Yeah. It's one of these nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
Ashes, ashes, we all fall down, right?
Mm.
Didn't know no better.
Right.
So as you guys walk along, y'all know probably just kids. Talk to new kids. The path winds alongside like a narrow ice glazed stream, where there's a simple mill. Well, it's not in your mind it's narrow. For them, it's probably a strong, faster stream. But you've been places with bigger rivers and bigger streams before, and the mill is kind of tilted but sturdy. It's has a great wooden wheel that kind of churns through the patches of the slush and the frostbitten moth. Hi, kitty cat. And there's
Getting on
smoke that
stream
curls
alert.
from the chimney. And there's outside, there's a broad shouldered man in a heavy wool tunic that leans on a fence post, watching like a hawk circle above the tree line. And you remember, oh, yeah, Sifta was talking about her uncle and the mill. And so Sifta like jogs over and kind of waves already, talking before the dude can even hear her. There's no way that he can already hear her. And he just, lifts like 2 fingers in greeting. And he kind of looks at you guys like a little suspicious, but patient. Kind of like he's already seen enough weird shit. And it's like he ain't panicking, but And the hawk kind of shrieks. And the dude nods and just leans against the thing and waits for Sifta to get there. And she introduces him as her uncle, Ketiel, and their hunting hawk, which for some reason is called Bramble. You think Sifta had a hand in that. It's just a little hunting hawk that, and he says, you brought the wind down with you, huh? That rich breeze is strange some mornings. And he says, go ahead and let your gran know what you're doing, because I don't even want to hear it. And he kind of just looks at you guys and gives you that I see you nod. And he's like, so you're gonna take them to Edda? Yeah, we're gonna take them to Edda. Go, let me go talk to my gran. And see if that kind of runs inside, and you hear a soft thump and a shouted warning about, cold dinners and lunches and no treats. And Yari says, she throws felt boots. It's kind of her thing. And Rooney is just like, and is already heading out, and the next minute he's running out. I told Gran, we're gonna go see Edda. We'll be back later. And Kelty is like, yeah. Shores will be waiting when you get back. And then he kind of picks up a pipe, and gets ready and says, yeah, I see you guys later. And you guys walk away from the mill.
People here often? Is this normal?
Repeat that?
I think Lark is just out loud going, do you get people here often? Is this normal?
Well, and then, Yari says, well, it's not the first time, and there's a lot of, like, travelers. Some get lost. Some, meant to go to the woods or into the mountains. And, on the other side, kind of is Jägersheim, So we do get people. Not like a lot of people, but people. Not people like you much, but people.
Lark just looks at the rest
You've
of the group.
said that twice. People
Well,
like us. What does that mean?
How many people do we find knocked out on the ridge by an old sad battlefield? You have no tent. You have no sleeping rods. You have no cart. You're not merchants. That's what I mean. That's why they think you're a ghost skin.
Ghost skin.
Oh, just a stupid story. It's like
Well,
ghosts.
I like stupid stories.
Ghosts when they get under the skin of people and they kind of
Oh, that's
Take the
creepy.
people for a walk, you know.
Rota is absolutely smiling right now.
Right. I
Just like,
immediately look at Rota.
story. Hmm.
You know, and if you don't pay attention, you might think they're actual people, but they're not. But then also in the stories, they don't really stay long.
Does the story tell you how to find who they are? How can you tell a ghost skin from a person?
Well, they don't remember everything,
Hmm.
and they kind of
Memories lost.
and you know the rhyme says that dead birds sing. I never heard a dead bird sing, and I were no dead birds, and they were not singing. So that's why I'm thinking you're not ghost skins.
Hmm. And again, when they say memory, I think her face like gets bigger. Like, she is absolutely not listening to this kid anymore.
Yeah, and then
I'd like to just like get in the face of the child talking, which I think is Sitka. I'd like to just be a little shithead for a second. I'm gonna get in their
Son of a
face and I'm gonna
shithead.
say, I don't remember anything. And then I just bare all of my bare teeth. And then I like just stand back and tower over them.
uh, and
Yona,
Yari
I
is so you're
know.
talking to Yari is like, but Rooney in the back is in the front, like circled back, laughing, drawing, sketching Yari's face, and just giggling like it's the funniest thing ever that you scared the shit out of this little boy who's basically the in the voice of reason. And then Sita's like, yeah, you know what, but if you want to know more of that, Edda, she's sort of a witch, but not the curse you kind, more the drink tea and look at you too long and say weird things kind. And then Yari is kind of like, she's not a witch, she's a scholar. She collects things that shouldn't exist and makes them explain themselves.
All of the above can be equally dangerous.
Yeah, and then Sifta just says, she know what the glade bones were, the big bone that you got. She knows all the weird runes. Also, she gives us apple cake sometimes. And then, you see Rooney stopping to sketch the face and just flip through her book like backwards. And there's just a picture of a stick figure with a white cloak and a little like a teapot next to her, and kind of holding like a glowing book. And then on the other side is like a massive reindeer on the other side of the page. Doesn't look connected, but it's on the same page. But yeah, it's like Edda was clearly just a stick figure in this one. And then as you look at that, Sifta says, "Oh, look, and that's Kviga," and she points at the reindeer. That's her helper. She's smarter than most adults. You mean the reindeer, not Edda, right? Yeah. Like, they're bickering. Yari definitely knows everything better. Very much so. Very much so. So, and as you guys are talking, you like the trail just like keeps winding through like the thinning trees, and the mill was about halfway. Um. Okay,
So
so the mill was about halfway to the village. So is there something else that you guys wanted to do before you get there?
I'm really interested in this Ada lady or Ada person with
Yeah.
their reindeer helper, a witch with a potentially glowing book who makes things explain themselves. Sounds like my kind of person.
So yeah, if you kind of push them on Edda, it's a lot of, oh my god, she got so many books. I can't read those books. No, that they're not even in what we're learning to write books. It's about the apple cakes and all the little stories that she tells, and that she has the best home ever. and you know that Kviga is super smart and such a big helper. So but it's not anything super straight, because you know how kids are. They focus on something completely different. But you know, as you do that, it's like slowly the village of like Helbreck reveals itself. It's nested against like the jagged gray spine of one of the worm's teeth, at the very edge, and the mountains higher loom in the back. You're at one of the out, not crops, but you know what I mean. Um, you know, kind of like the, if you would say, the roots of the mountains, you know, where it starts to get not as high anymore at the very end. And most of the peaks are still snow covered and drifting in cloud. And Lark, you would realize, oh yeah, it's very early spring. There's still snow, but spring's coming.
Do
And
I remember what time of year it was? Or do I think I know what time of year it was?
no, you you keep thinking seasons didn't matter to you guys much. You didn't really care. It wasn't important. It was something to look at for nature, but it wasn't, not that you cared or that you took the time to but notice nature around you. It was not like you guys didn't really care. So, but yeah, as you look around, some snow still clings like in like some of the crevices. There's almost like dust and like these old mountain craggy scars, you know, where the mountains kind of crack open. And is now that you're higher up, and Yona, when you actually look towards the east, you actually can see further out, a dense forest that, you know, kind of stretch it towards the, you know, further away from you. And it seems you seem to remember it's pine and alder, rising and falling in soft ridges. And then just outside of Halbrick, you know, you kind of followed the river. And interestingly, it's actually narrower up here. It's stronger down by the mill, and it crosses across the path. It's more like a stream than a torrent, really. There's like these smooth, dark granite stones and some twisted roots, and there's a rope bridge that crosses it. Simply, it's just a simple one. It seems like there might be a bigger one somewhere else, because there's no way a car just going over this. But the kids leap across like they've done it 1,000 times. The water beneath is like gurgles softly, really cold. You know, if you put your fingers in there, it's super cold. And then Halbrecht itself is like, it feels almost like a clutch of buildings, like they're close together, like they're huddling together. And part of the buildings are built into the mountain curve, like with stone foundations or tile roofs and like goat paths, and some are cut almost into the mountain. Um, it's sturdy, but it's kind of small, and you know, there's lanterns that hang from like hooks that are shaped like antlers. You know, you think you hear a dog bark, and else it's pretty quiet. It is almost lunchtime, so yeah, that will make sense that people are not really around. They're at home eating. And as you get to a smaller home, it kind of sits on a lower shelf, and it's like partially cut into the mountain, almost like, you know, you would think it's like part a cave, part a cottage. And there's like warm light behind the windows, and the door is painted a deep green, and there's runes on it. They're faded, but you know, they're still strong. They're not cracked. And outside is decoration, like a bone bell chimes and a bundle of sage and juniper. Lark would recognize, are kind of like hanging from the eaves, and kind of moving in the wind, and it feels comfortable. And see if there's a, that's Edda's home. Don't knock weird. She hates that. Right. And once we get closer to the door, I want Rota and Ariane to roll what they think they need to roll to see if they can understand what the rune's saying.
Oh.
Ooh, I have linguistics.
I'm going to try that.
I'm gonna try into it again because I can roll that one twice.
Oh, I don't have a hex on anything. That makes me sad. Okay.
That's a 6.
So
So
six,
a 6.
A
yeah,
6.
6 plus 1, 7 on linguistic.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, Rota, you realize that part of is truth, speak truth. But there's more that you kind of don't understand. And Ariane, you would you don't understand the first part or the second part. You would understand the last one that says return wiser.
Speak truth. So was speak truth the first one or the second one?
No, the speak truth is the first one. There's a second one, and then the third one you were able to read, return wiser.
Got it.
And as you guys are looking at it, you know, Rooney opens the door. You know, these kids have absolutely no compulsion to go up there, not knocking, not nothing, just opening the front door of this home. And out comes like these wave of warmth. You guys didn't even realize that you were kind of chilled to the bone because it was just cold. Everything just felt the same. And it's just, you come in and you kind of have the sense that this place like holds heat the way like Rhoda thinks a good story holds breath. It's like this house is just always warm. It's never cold. And from your very first thing, you just see there's books, stacks and spirals and piles around the edges. There's some open books. There's like the shelves are kind of saggy under all kinds of stuff. There's if you look down, the floor is stone, but covered with like hand woven rugs. But very straight. There's no tassels or any kind of decorative bull, basically. There's in the very middle of the room, you can see like a hearth with like a long bench around it. There's a kettle hanging over it, and everything kind of smells of sage and ink and old secrets. And there's a voice that comes like from deeper within the house, and it says, "Don't touch the singing bone unless it starts humming first, and close the door. You'll let the wonder out." And with that,
Ooh.
we're going to go ahead and get ready to take our break.
Oh.
As you have entered Edda's home that is partially built into the base of a ridge, and it's clearly loved and warm. And the ceiling is kind of arched, like with heavy beams. It's tall enough that Yona doesn't have to bend as much. Still has to watch out for the beams that are actually, as Yona can see close up, because Yona tall, can see that there's like carvings on it of like plants and waves and stars. And with that, let's go ahead and let's take our break, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes, and I hope y'all will be back when we dig a little further and we meet our first new friend, hopefully Edda.
Bye.
Hello, and welcome back to Nerds with Dice.
Hello.
And today we're playing Vildheim, our new campaign, Valkyrja and Ashen Wake, with all of my lovely players, and all the lore, and all the memory loss, and all the funnies. So, because if you weren't here when we started, all of my 4 players woke up on a ridge at the bottom of the mountains, and they think they're Valkyries. They were Valkyries, kind of, but they don't remember the name of the gods, and they don't know where they were, or where they had dried blood under their fingernails, or,
Like
any
you
of,
do
of
when
the
you
other
wake
stuff.
up.
You just woke up on this ridge by an old, ancient kind of battlefield, at the bottom of the worm's teeth, and now you met some funny fossil hunting children who decided to take you to the village, Halbreak, and to take you to the witch, but not really a witch, more a tea drinking scholar, weird stories kind of person. And you have made it to Edda's home, which is kind of built into the side of the mountain. And the kids just basically went over there, bumped open that door, and you guys got like maybe one good look around before you heard, presumably Edda's voice from inside saying, "Don't touch the singing bone unless it starts humming first, and close the door. You'll let the wonder out." And the kids kind of just like pile on top of each other into there, and kicking off the snow off their boots and wiping their dirty feet basically. And as you look inside, if you looking at the layout, it's basically, you can see like the hearth. It's in the middle of the room. It's like, and next to it is like a curved high back chair next to it. Then next to it actually is a big kind of nesty looking thing with furs, and there seems to be the head of a little reindeer looking out at you guys, like laying down in the furs. And Svita said, "Don't pet Quigga unless she lets you. She headbutts liars." As they, get over to the hearth and like kind of, rub their hands in front of it. And if you kind of look around, you see there's like hooks on the wall for like drying herbs and storage for like firewood. There's like a little table close to the earth where there's like a teapot, and like a bone handled stirring spoon. If you look to the left, you see kind of like a reading working area. There's like a long, low desk built into the wall. Lots of stuff. I mean, Rhoda would love it. Scrolls, rune boards, candles, tools for ink making. You would definitely notice those. And there's a tall shelf right beside it that has like lots of journals, like handwritten stuff sticking out, scroll cases, and there's a couple of fossils just kind of, coming around. And if you're looking straight ahead, there's a curtain in front of kind of a nook, and like a lock chest next to it. And that's as far as you can, there's more, but you guys all like kind of go in, or are you like
Lark immediately steps in.
Yona immediately waits for everyone else to go in first.
I take my move inside, but I'm a little bit more cautious than the children.
Yeah.
Who obviously
or
know
me.
this lady. Or Lark, yeah. Because I'm just rolling up in this lady house, like
we don't even know
her. She don't know me.
Before Rota goes in, kind of looks at Yona and like does that like creepy smile, like okay, and just walks in. And I think immediately just kind of starts looking at all the different knick-knack kind of things around, and just doesn't touch it, but just with the clawed caps, just gotta looks like she's going to, that kind of thing where you just kind of go around, having your hand hover over stuff. I think she does that kind of like,
Yeah, there's
that
shelves
creepy
all over,
smile she got.
jars of herbs, old bones, worn candles, trinkets, keys with no teeth, colored glass, beads, stones wrapped in wires. You know how it is. All kinds of nickety knackety stuff. And so as you guys, like close the door behind you, um, it really, it's like the warmth kind of like wraps around your shoulders, kind of like an old cloak, like soft lift in, kind of faintly herbal. There's a fire in the hearth, just casting the light. And there's Quiga, a reindeer, but a smaller reindeer, not a super ginormous reindeer, kind of snorts at y'all, like from her spot. It's like close to the hearth, not too far away from that curtain that you see. And if you Lark, you would notice that actually Kviga has her back leg left is actually prosthetic, made from storm pine. And you would hear it click like kind of softly as Kviga kind of settles herself a little bit more. And you're standing in there, and it kind of feels cluttered but still intentional, like like it's meant to be this way, but it's still super cluttered. But it's not like somebody just dropped shit and didn't care. I mean, there's herbs hanging like upside down chandeliers. You notice like a carved wooden fox that sits like close to one of the windows, and then the curtain moves. And as the curtain starts to move, the kids start just, and see if that's like, we brought them, the ones from the ridge. Like, I don't know. Clearly, I called you on my cell phone in this fantasy world, this child. Yari thinks they're ghost skins, but I think they're just confused. Rooney says they smell like storage, which is probably good. And Yari says, they didn't threaten us, which seems suspicious. I mean, she was scary, but it wasn't really a threat. And then Rooney is just like clapping and whistling, And then Sivda kind of leans towards the curtain and says, also, Yari fell in a snowbank and he won't admit it. And Yari's like, that's a lie. That was a tactical position. I did not just fall. And then from behind the curtain, you hear like a low, kind of raspy, deep laugh. And then, there's rustle of a parchment, clink of something set aside, and the curtain kind of gets pushed to the side. And Edda kind of steps out slowly, and she's supporting herself with like a rune carved cane, like from a dark wood, and she's walking deliberately, balanced but a little stiff. It's like her joints kind of move like old doors in a familiar home, with patient and a little bit of a creak. She wears boots that have like extra wrapping at the ankles, and the weight of her movement kind of pulls slightly to one side, kind of to the left. And that is when you notice that the high-backed chair by the hearth is actually a wheelchair, but a very special wheelchair. And you can tell that that's definitely her favorite spot. I mean, there's a wooden throw on it. It actually has a really kind of cool, you realize that the table that's you thought was next to it is actually connected to it, like almost like a fold-out table. And it actually has a cup of tea in it, and that cup of tea is still warm. My spellcasters, roll me a spellcasting check.
Spellcasting check. How do I do that?
Just roll a 10 plus a
spellcraft.
Plus spellcraft.
Okay.
Got it.
It's not really, it's just what I call it.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just hoping I had a 1 in it. I don't.
I does.
3. What does a 3 get me?
I got a 2.
Oh, we're so good.
I know, right?
So you notice that area where the tea sits has a rune on it, and you think it might be keeping the tea warm.
Cool.
So, and it's almost, well, if you think about it, it's almost like a cup holder, in the arm of it, but it's not all the way in. It's a little deeper, and it's there to keep the cup of tea, and then the side shelf is kind of a foldable tray that comes out of the arm. That's just as far as you can see. If you actually look a little closer at Edda, you see that she has like silver threaded locks that are like pulled back and kind of neat, you know, thick braids, and her deep brown eyes kind of look at all of y'all like with a slow patience. It's like, and you think she's looking closer. She looks looking like somebody who notices things that other people don't see. And she has a very deep brownish honey tint. I don't want to use food, but it's a warm brown. It's not an ashen brown. It's like a very warm um, brown tone to her skin. Despite the fact that there's not a lot of sun, especially closer to the mountain, and spring is just starting. And you say Kviga rises from her resting place and kind of nudges Edda in direction of the seat, and then make sure that Edda pays attention before sitting down and going. And Edda doesn't speak immediately. She studies you guys, and the kids are just kind of like, "What's she gonna say?" Yeah, but she doesn't look at you like you're a threat. She's not, like the uncle who was kind of like, yeah, I'm not quite sure about you. Also not like a puzzle, more like she's trying to remember something. And then she says softly, "You've walked far to end up here. Well, you've fallen from somewhere much further. That's the trouble with places like Felmer Ridge. They keep things buried, and then they give them back." And she kind of just mentions towards the bench by the hearse and says, "Sit, stand, pace. Whatever truth you're carrying will settle the same sooner or later." And then she says, "And then, I really want to know what you remember, and I'll tell you what might matter." And the kids are like, "Ba, ba, 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 ghost skins, this, that." Rooney is showing up the thing. And Edda lets them talk for a second, and then she's like, "It's almost lunchtime. Your gran will worry if you don't make it back before dinner. And I'm too tired to argue her down if she runs up here yelling at me. Shh, shh, shh. You'll get cake next time." And, the kids are kind of complaining. But then, Yari's like, "You do know she likes to throw her felt boots if we don't get back in time."
Mm-hmm.
And Rooney is just like, and then, they kind of tumble back out the door. After, Rooney petting Kviga on the head and Kviga just going, "Children." All right.
Lark whistles.
And Rooney whistles back, like a goodbye.
Mm.
And Edda then says, "All right, it's lunchtime. I do have some food. Let me get you some water. You got ash under your nails and dried blood behind your ears, probably. And there's no glamour in stinking. And
Oh.
yeah, you're kind of dirty. You're kind of ripped. You walked into this woman's house, and
We
you're
came
kind
in
of
here
smelly.
offensive, like
He's saying it gently.
we came in
I mean,
here
you didn't have to
rookies,
mention
like-
it. Damn.
Right.
Rhoda just starts
Oh,
waving
I
the
gotta-
robes. Like,
Yeah, and she
Gotta
kind
air
of
this out just a
slowly
little bit.
makes her way to towards like the back, like left corner from the. I'm still talking from the front door. So if you come going past the hearth and past her little sleeping area, because if you look over behind that curtain is like a slightly elevated sleeping platform built into the rear wall. It has like carved cubbies in it, for blankets and other gear and some books and stuff. Um, so that it's a little higher, so she doesn't have to get down at all. It's just perfect at her height when she makes her way over to sit down. And behind that, you she actually has a bathroom with a pull across another curtain, a different kind of curtain, and there's like a mobile toilet chair that is you can see peeking out, and that is where all her necessities and her water thing is, and she gets like a copper basin full of water, and she puts it um, next to the hearth for you guys, and then heads towards the other side where the kitchen is. And there's also you didn't really pay attention, but there's actually some stew over the hearth too. And she comes back from her little kitchen larder with some oat cakes. And but first, she's like, "All right, we have a couple minutes before you guys gotta wash. I'm Etta. Welcome to my home."
Hi, Etta. I'm Arian. These are my friends, I think. You're gonna let us wash here?
I mean, you gotta at least wash your hands before you eat. Have you seen under your nails?
Oh, I have been avoiding looking there.
Yeah. But also, she kind of had sit down into her wheelchair. She's like, also, if you kind of have a little bit of a issue with moving around, you're not quite as, fussy about being seen doing what needs to be done
Hmm.
as other people. But again, wash what you want, but I would request you wash your hands before we have stew and oat cakes.
Well, you mentioned something very interesting. Um,
I
you
do
said that
mention a lot
we
of stuff.
you do, and there's lots to parse here. However, the thing that stuck out most to me was you saying that we fell from someplace far and that the ridge buries things and then gives them back. What is that in reference to? Do you know who we are?
Oh, I wish I did. I wish I did. Uh, the ridge is full of fossils. It's full of cairns. There was a battle a long time ago that we don't even know who fought who. Um, so it's a mystery. It's a mystery. And
Hmm.
I mean, where else would you have come from than the mountains?
Fair. I wish I could tell you. I'm just as confused as you are. And I'm going to go and wash my hands because this stew smells mad good. And it just occurred to me that I don't know when the last time I've eaten has been. So yeah, getting in between the fingernails and wash it. I even like wash behind my ears a little bit, do pits, tits, and bits. You know what I mean? So it takes me a second, but I tidy just a skosh before I go into this lady's house and eat her food.
Yeah. So, and as you're doing that, she kind of looks at you guys and say, stories say the ridge holds echoes, things too big to bury, too quiet to speak of. Some call it a place where oaths go to die. You woke up there, the kids said. Well, I guess that makes you part of its story. I mean, I don't think you ghost skins, but the kids love their spooky stories.
As Rota very mildly just like cleans the fingertips, basically. Like, she's like, I like my patina.
Mhm.
The children mentioned you have the ability to make things talk.
Oh, yes. Fossils, runes, old languages. I like finding the memories in things.
The moment she says memories, I think Rota's eyebrows like shoot up. Like not even like consciously, just memories. How does that work with things? And I think with the like the caps that she has on her nails, she Rota basically just kind of like hears the voices that she has the memories of, and they kind of just whisper a little bit. Just how do you do that with things?
Well, and she actually points to one of the fossils, which is a big thigh bone.
Hmm.
And she'll be like, well, I know he probably told you about this bone. There's no way that that boy did not talk about this bone for even one day of his life.
The entire way here.
Yes.
Mhm.
For this, you are able to kind of look at the bone itself, the markings, the feeling, the smell. You can figure out how old is this bone? Where has it been? Has it been underground? And has the earth stained into the cracks? Has it been under stone in a cairn? Um, it is looking very, very closely and almost feeling your way along these little clues that this thing gives you.
Interesting.
Oh, so more the topography of memories than the way that most people think about it.
Yeah. Some places you can just feel the memories. And she said, but enough about me. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your memories. The kids would not call you ghost skins if there was not trouble with memories.
Oh, I've always had a terrible memory. I don't think that's a problem.
I think
Mm.
Rota, she almost like speaks with different voices a little bit that are not necessarily hers, of just like deeper, lower, very chesty, reverberating voice of just battles won, battles lost, and like I don't even think Rota knows what she's saying,
Okay.
but it's kind of just the things that filter through her mind a little bit. And to everyone else, it's literally just like one word, like short sentences about different times from different places.
Yeah. Yeah. And the others, while Rota was doing her little dipping,
Dip. That's it.
you know,
Hey,
you are able to see like a spiraling kind of vine like inkwork that wrapped her arm, you know, and each of the curls, almost like the curl of a scroll, almost is like has like stylized runes, names, and story fragments. And it seems like some of these have holes in them, like they're not finished, while others are finished, almost like it's an evolving story that is going, up her right arm, and you weren't quite able to see past like the elbow, but you can see it's going further. And then let's see, did anybody else show something? If Ariane was paying attention, she could have seen a little bit more of the brand on Yona's wrist. And it seems like it's two stylized figures that are like back to back, and one has a sword and the other has a shield.
Ooh.
To
And they're
say
back to back, and one of the figures is holding a sword and the other one is holding a
sorry.
a shield.
To finish the thing for Edda, I'm not entirely sure, but I hear stories and memories from others.
Oh,
It feels like a collection.
oh, I know about collections. Aren't they just the best? And you never know when something will piece together with something else. So, do we have any other memories to share?
I think at this, Arian becomes a little bit more solemn and feels like a fragmentation
Mhm.
almost in realizing that they are forgetting something or someone important. Um and I think Arian says, I don't remember what I've forgotten, but
Oh,
I know that it mattered deeply, especially to me.
and her brows kind of tighten, and she's like, "Oh, important, important roots from your memories." And like Quiggers, like has a little bell chime, around her neck, and kind of shifts, and so I mean, yeah, the world's quieter than it was, but it's not empty. So maybe we can find some echoes of your memories. Maybe we can combine memories.
Hmm.
Do
I
you do
hope
you
so.
remember how you got onto the ridge, where you were coming from?
No clue.
Hmm. Do you remember? Right, you remember your names, but do you remember who you were, what you were doing before?
Mm, no.
No.
We came back dirty though.
Yeah, you did, with blood under your fingernails,
Yeah,
and
quite
you.
gross.
So something tells me that's probably normal. I have a feeling that
I
that's
saw that,
normal.
Rota.
So and just like, yeah, I mean, you guys do look like you can hold your own. You don't look like the soft merchants who hire help. I mean, there is a lot of troll hunters and bounty hunters in the mountains. You think you might have done something like that?
Hmm. I think I look at my weapons. Do I see like blood and stuff on my weapons?
No, your weapon's clean, very well maintained.
Wow. Yeah, so no. No troll hunting either. Because that would have done some damage to my cutlasses.
Hmm. Well, so you clawed something, or you clawed yourself out of something, but your weapons aren't dirty.
Mm-mm.
Huh. All right. So if there's some things you remember and some things you don't remember, um, is there any questions that you have that I can help with? You know where you are, right? I bet the kids told you where we are, that this is Holbreck at the bottom of the worm's teeth.
Yes,
Yeah.
I actually never. I didn't think a place like this existed here.
Well, we are a pretty small village. So we're not that far away from Jägersheim, and then there's Spökstadt to the west. I mean, there's the Troll Woods to the east. Um, I mean, these whole mountains are kind of spotted. like little nooks and crannies of civilization. And most people, if they travel, they will make sure to travel fast. You know, most people are not as strong as you guys seem to be. We do get merchants. We do get merchants. Not quite as many. Not quite as many as we should. Well, as I wish we should, because clearly, you know, my collection of books is not done yet. Um, yeah, we're a pretty small, excuse me, village.
Do you know if there is a place the land might hold memories?
There's such places, yes. And above table, they have a very specific name that I am spacing on right now. Um, they're kind of like the ancient stones from The Witcher, you know, where you would get extra skills and where you're safe. They're kind of like little hearth stones, basically. They're um, left behind, but again, nobody knows about the gods. Nobody knows the names of the gods, but they exist. They exist. There's one not too far from here, on the way to Spokestad.
Maybe we should stop there.
Yeah.
I mean, Spokestad. Oh, yeah, yeah. I do think we should, because a colleague of mine actually lives close by. Her name is Drifa, and as much as it pains me to say, they're pretty good at what they do.
Oh, what do they do?
She kind of knows the shape of old truths. She and I, we used to go and we were studying in the same school. She was not really wrong a lot, very impatient, and like, you know, her truth kind of cut like glass, if you know what I mean.
Mm. Mm. I do have a question. Or another question, I suppose.
Plenty of questions, yes.
Yeah, I have tons of them. Listen, do you know where we can find, because you mentioned a battlefield.
Yes.
Do you have any information about when the last battle was fought there?
Generations ago, way before my time. All of that, as you've seen, some of the cairns you are not even sure if they're cairns or if they're just, you know, bumps in the ridge. Um,
Based on that answer, and since Rota is a gross little being apparently and only wash her fingertips, can I check the rest of like what I'm wearing and the dried blood? Is it like super long time dried? You know what I mean? Like, or was it like maybe a couple hours ago?
um, yeah, no, I'll just give that to you. It's like you do have some blood spatter on your clothes. Some of them are overlaid, like you didn't on like the bottom or the edges, like you didn't really care about cleaning it up. And interestingly, your clothes smell a little like smoke for no real reason, and you're not quite sure if that was from the fire, like the hearth, sitting next to the hearth, or if it was there before.
Is there any way to tell, like, this kind of gross description, sorry y'all, but if like she kind of picks at it a little bit, like is it anything super dry that just flakes off, or is it kind of like soaked into it? I'm trying to basically assess like
Like age.
Yeah, like recent blood grossness or like casing grossness, you know? Like,
Stains, old stains.
okay.
Like
Oh,
you left them in too long, and then after washing, they didn't come out.
But they're like
got it.
okay.
Yeah, so there's nothing flaking off. You're kind of dirty and you kind of ripped, like it's a little, the shredded, the curled edges and everything, but
And I think after that, and like Rota looks at Arian and kind of like motions to what she's doing,
Mm.
like this has been here for a minute.
You said generations ago. Has it become like a matter of myth that we could possibly look into?
I mean, it hasn't been that long. We know there was a
Oh, thank
battle.
goodness.
We just don't know who really fought whom, or
Mm,
who even lays beneath those cairns. But we know there was a real battle here. We just don't know. It's not like the story of the ghost skins that the
I
kids
see.
like to tell. It happened. It's just nobody here kept track of it. Wasn't really any of their business, and might have it probably was even before the first people settled here that it was already an old battlefield.
Interesting.
I mean, you're in Helbrick. It's ridged up quietly, mostly left alone. I mean, if you don't want to be here or you're lost, we're not really a thoroughfare. You either want to come here or you're lost. Sometimes we get people who are lost on their way to the Troll Woods or home from the Troll Woods or the Troll Warrens. All these crazy bounty hunters trying to bring troll ears to the people in Jägersheim.
Lark looks so confused. That is wasteful hunting.
Well, that is how a lot of them make their money. We have too many trolls, too many other monsters. If you want to get the money for the monsters that you can't eat, you got to bring a piece and prove that you actually killed the monsters. Else everybody can say they killed a troll. How would you prove and pay the bounty?
Real.
I mean, nobody eats troll. Oh my god, are they dirty? No. No. They don't even wear clothes. No.
Oh my goodness. So they just out here naked in the buff. My heavens.
So so as Rota is kind of like kind of like scratching on the stuff, and a little bit of her tattoo becomes visible, and Edda just takes a look of it and says, "Oh, interesting. Hmm. Runes.
Runes?
Yeah.
You can see them too?
Are you telling me you can see the tattoo on your friend's arm?
No, I was talking about the glowy ones.
What glowy one?
Well, I guess not.
I mean, I don't see a glow. Her tattoo is not glowing. It does have
No, I'm talking about the John, was it Jonna or Lark that had a spiral?
Oh yeah, Lark. Lark has that behind her
Mhm.
left ear.
Mm-hmm.
No, but
Sorry,
I
Jonna. Not Jonna.
so and now she's kind of interested into looking around and looking at the visible tattoos that you guys are wearing. She says, "Oh, some of these I know. Runes of fate, protection, sacrifice. Others, they're like woven kind of wrong. Someone copied them from a dream or stitched them into your skin. They were. They don't look quite right. Not like I know them.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, a
Well.
lot changes over time.
So, let's see what she's able to actually see that you guys are not covering up. Okay, so as she looks, well, let's be honest, the most visible ones are Yona's biceps tattoos. They're like, kind of in your face. And, they do have a lot of the bear iconography in here, but she kind of points to one. It kind of looks like this. It's a little bit more stylized. And she says, oh, that is Uros. Uros is physical strength and speed, untamed potential. Freedom, energy, joy in the freedom and the wild. That's what that kind of tells me. So she noticed that the biceps tattoo has the Uros rune within it. Do you remember who did these for you? Yona doesn't remember? Or she doesn't want to tell her?
No, Yona just doesn't respond.
Okay.
Yona? You all right?
A memory flashes for all of you, and you don't really remember Yona being a very talkative person. Though when they do talk, they have a lot to say.
Yeah. I bear a few words.
Yeah, and then, she kind of just gently reaches over for Arian's hands, and she kind of, looks at the index and middle fingers that she has, and it's actually 2 runes and one. She's like, I am not quite sure about this one, but this one on the index finger, this one I know. It's called Verd. And it is interconnectedness of past, future, and present. It is the world. It is magic. It is all of those things. So, do you have any connection to magic? I'm not sure of the other one, but it kind of reminds me of something that has more to do with agility. But this one I know. This one I know. It is all, as if you look at the rune, you can see how everything's connected.
Yeah. And I think Arian just kind of like wiggles their fingers a little bit and summons up an itty bitty baby storm cloud.
Yeah.
And goes, oh yeah, I know about magic.
Right. So, and once she mentions it, yeah, you realize that, these glyphs are these runes are supposed to amplify dexterity and aiding focus during spellcasting, almost like they're fidgets that you touch to help you focus during spellcasting or help you have more dexterous hands.
Come on, ADHD tattoos. Let's go, baby. And then she's like, she kind of, serves you some stew and some oat cakes, and says, I hope this, helps a little bit, and if you guys really, I do know runes.
I don't know all the runes. However, if you really want to learn a little bit more about the runes that you're marked with, and maybe even more of the history of the written, boring, factual history, Drifa is really more of the person to do that. Might be a thorn on my side. The only other person I trust to tell you what I can, though, because at least, you know, at least she knows or they know what they're talking about. I mean, we both deal in memory and meaning. We just don't agree always on the meaning. You know, just don't expect any easy answers from that woman.
Sounds
Don't
fine.
expect easy
Sounds
answers,
fun.
period. Yeah.
Lark is distractedly kind of trying to figure out, wait, do I have tattoos? Did I forget I had tattoos?
Yeah. So you will, as you do it, and probably because Ariane was the hands, you look at your hands and you realize that your fingertips have like kind of ghostly echo runes, and they remind you of the times that you touch spirits, your spirits. Um, if you kind of look a little on your forearms, there's like a web of fine marks like running down both the forms, and kind of like you're shifting colors.
Mm.
And you would suddenly remember that these colors are green at dawn, blue at dusk, and purples during midnights or liminal weather. Sometimes they turn purple close to Arian too because of the clouds.
Reasons.
But you also know that these can be natural Vetir manifestations. They're not tattoos. They look like tattoos, but you realize there are just some Vetir get these markings that are kind of connected to the colors, that sometimes your skin kind of shifts too. Is anybody else checking anything else? I don't know if you're curious at all now.
Oh, we can look like the Spider-Man meme, like everybody pointing at each other.
I mean, you can always, now if this would be the point where you mention to each other what you noticed before.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna tell about me peeping some glowing tattoos in places and seeing, because I can't see my own glowing tattoo, can I?
It's
Um,
Well,
up
I
your
guess
neck,
not.
I
It's a
think.
necklace. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say yours is up here if I remember from the low cut part.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
what Lark saw before they woke up.
Yeah, it's like yours is not really glowy. It's just,
Mm.
but when you touch it, it kind of feels faintly warm to the touch.
Right.
But the thing is that now, if you point out that glyph or that spiral rune behind the left ear of Lark, you realize
Mhm.
it's not glowing or shiny anymore. It's
Okay.
there, and you can see it, but it's not
Mhm.
shiny right now. It's not glowing.
Oh, so they're conditional. Like the I want to test it, and I don't know how to test it.
Quick, knock me out.
Are you serious? Because I
ET phone hold.
can.
Lark, no,
Me.
Lark,
Zap it.
Lark looks
Now Yoda pulls
completely
back a
serious.
fist. Ayo.
Lark looks completely serious. It's like, wait, what? Why wouldn't I be serious? What?
So I'm thinking that actually, Lark, roll me some like intuition. Like, see if you can like kind of remember maybe anything.
I don't think I have any of that, but
All
I
right,
will
then you
try.
just roll a plain d10.
Yep. That's a D6. That's not a D10.
I believe in you.
That is a 7.
Right. With a 7 and you touching it. Ooh, am I still here? I made something beep.
No,
Yeah,
I
you.
hear
Right.
you.
All right, because I'm touching my headphones very clearly.
Mhm.
So that you think it has something to do with you being able to see spirits.
Oh, so I just have to try to find a spirit in order to figure out if it works.
Well, we were at a battlefield, and sometimes there's unfinished business.
But the
Maybe.
only
I
two
don't know.
people I saw there were you.
Did you try to look for other spirits?
Fair. Good point.
Right. So now that you guys have eaten your moderately clean faces and hands, uh, Edda says, um, if you really want to see Drifa, we can leave in the morning. I will go with you. That woman is sharp as a shard of ice, sharp enough to cut her own fingers without noticing. She might not even talk to you guys if there's nobody there. We might not have spoken in a while, but I can at least get you through the door.
Yes. I was hoping you'd come with.
More wit than patient, Drifa, but not a fool. Not a fool.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is. You have eaten. You're moderately clean. I'll have some preparations to make. Um, so feel free to avail yourself of my home and do what you like. I will see you later. And she will, pick up her cane. Kviga gets up and they will like walk out the front door.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
We
Yeah,
won't touch the singing bone, I promise.
not if
Maybe.
it doesn't talk to you first.
Heard and understood.
Literally, I was about to say Rhoda's got her hands over slowly.
You don't even know which one the singing bone is. There's so many
Listen,
little bones.
Literally, I was about to touch everything.
Right.
Not even kidding.
I'm just singing those little finger cats going.
I think we'll slowly move to a non-bone item. And this isn't going to work, but I just want to do it for funsies anyway. I want to try to steal memory from an item.
Ooh.
P.S. It doesn't work that way above table, but I want to try because she said she can hear memories from things.
Yes. What would you like to touch?
Let's see what's in here. You said there
I
was some
mean,
books and some ink. I think
yes.
she wants to dip her gross finger in some ink.
All right. So,
Hey,
yeah. Now you realize that actually the desk is actually just the right height that she can like roll her storm pine, which as a lark would know is a rare wood. And that she could actually roll it over to use it at the desk because that's definitely the comfiest seat
Right.
in the whole house. Back at basically scrolling too far past my description. All right, so that desk holds like scrolls and rune boards, and then there's also some different kinds of inks, so you can definitely open up an ink bottle if you like.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just, like, I think she kind of can't help herself because anytime she got close to somebody, I think she was kind of like, Like the hands were coming up towards their temples, like, no, stop it. And kind of does the same thing and curls her fingers around the bottle and is trying to see if she can hear a memory through it.
Right.
It's more of a compulsion, I'm not gonna lie.
So it's like the finger goes inside the ink.
Mm-hmm.
It feels warm and kind of almost thick, like it hasn't been used in a while. It's not quite as anymore, and you pull it out.
And now
Your
you
finger's
got ink on
stained.
your finger cap. Yeah.
And the ink is kind of running down your finger.
Can I attempt to steal memory from it?
You can absolutely attempt, but right now all that you hear is the bone wind chime next to the door outside.
The bone saying? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Touch the bone! Touch it! All right. So apparently this requires a difficult spellcraft check. So
Okay,
we'll
so
see how this doesn't go. It's fine.
Yep.
Uh-huh. It's not terrible. 7.
7. You get something. You don't get really.
Hold on. I gotta roll a 1d4. Sorry.
Okay.
1. So if this theoretically works, I steal 1d4 hours of memory, and I will choose to experience it.
Yeah. So you're right at the edge. You don't really get a memory. You just get a feeling of words. Letters. Lots of letters. Frustration. Warmth. More frustration. But also desire. Can't quite tell what the desire is for.
I don't want to explore that.
They were lesbians.
Yeah. I was gonna say she's writing romance novels, y'all.
And
Okay, so this
that's
is
all you feel. And now you have 2 fingers full of ink.
I think Rhoda's face, there's definitely an absolute satisfaction here.
Yep.
Of just, I would even say kind of probably talking like the frustration parts of the things you mentioned and almost in her voice, Edda's voice a little bit. And any other voices that might have been writing with this. And just looks at all of y'all like just absolutely satisfied. It
You
does
know,
speak.
not every.
And you realize as it kind of stains and dries,
Mhm.
it has a slight purplish tint to it.
And now I'm poisoned. No. And yeah, just mentions to all of y'all the things that y'all heard.
You know, not everything probably remembers the same way that people do.
Seems that objects do hold memories, though. And I
Of
think
course
there's
they
an
do.
unfortunate, like not manic, but like idea of just like looks at all the items in here, like
Just giddy.
yeah.
Gleeful.
It is completely now entertained.
Right?
Completely
What are you gonna
entertaining.
do? You're alone in Edda's house. You have the afternoon in front of y'all. You are more than likely leaving to visit Drifa in the morning.
I am reading this wonderful woman's books, all of them, in a pile around me. I'm sitting on the floor looking for anything about the battle and anything about this town because I don't remember any of those things at all. So I'm just reading through her books to see what she's got on offer.
Right. Actually, roll me a d10 to see, which books you actually pull out.
Okay.
Is there any way I can help?
I got a 10.
That's just a random. There's so many books. All right. So actually, you pulled out a whole bunch of books, and 2 of them are in a language that you have no clue what the fuck that is saying. You don't even know what that is related to, and it's a really old man handwriting, almost like the kind of shaky, like it's not
Oh,
you know when somebody old's writing shit down, it's like a little,
yeah.
you know, the tremor that I already get. Hi.
Sorry, you said old man, and I was like, and it's in all caps. And I will mute now.
Yelling at the clouds.
Hey, yo.
And so those were kind of a, you know, you pulled out a very heavy tome though, and it looks like it's on like rune history, like very scholarly. And actually, as you like kind of flipping through it, just, you know, not really what you were looking for, but you never know, you just kind of idly flip through, there's just like a piece of paper falls out.
Ooh, I want to look. Is it a bookmark or is it notes?
It's it looks like it's like a little piece of note paper, and it's like it kind of in a pretty heavy pressed, it says, since you persist in thinking emotions change stone, here's what actual scholars think. Perhaps when you're done playing nursemaid to moss and memories, you might learn something. And then in a less heavy, less pressing thing at the bottom, it says, P.S. page 172. You'd like the verses there, even if you won't admit it.
Woo. Yeah, they were definitely lesbians. Is what I'm getting.
They were definitely together.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, page 172. If you go there, it's just a it's just a discussion about the history of a rune and some kind of little poem about that, you know, that specific scholar decided this is what the rune means because there's this poem and it was kind of found in the same book, and to you, boring as fuck.
Yeah,
but very clearly to them, discussable.
I wonder, from this, since we figured out that objects hold memory, can I hand this note to Rota and see if she can pull who this is from?
Yeah, you can try.
I'm gonna slide this over in your direction, darling.
Okay, so above table, Phoebe, as written, I can only do this once a day, or once per like long rest. But I want you to roll on that and see what you think.
Okay, I mean, you can absolutely roll. We don't quite know, or if it's like, you know, if it's gonna tell you, something. I mean, you're also a lore master, so
okay, let's go. Let's see. Oh fuck, it's a 3.
Oh, poop.
Boo.
So you pick it up, all excited.
Yeah.
But as a lore master, you can tell that it's been handled a lot.
Okay.
It's been handled a lot. That you can see because it has the crinkles and the thing that somebody has picked it up often and, you know, read it often.
And can I at least tell the ink that is now drying like on my hand? Is it not the same ink as what I'm looking at?
It doesn't have that purplish tint.
Okay, so we'll share it's probably from someone else.
Yeah, it's
or at least not the same ink.
Probably not the her ink.
Yeah. No. So we'll share that with Arian.
I'm going to divulge my lesbian theory to literally.
Yeah.
What is it? Drifa or Drifa?
Yeah, Drifa.
Drifa. Going to see Drifa tomorrow. I feel like we might be caught in between some exes, but it's okay though.
Yeah,
We can parent trap him. It's cool.
and Lark being you know, basically a navigator, um, would know that Spokestad is a couple of days from the foot of the mountains, though. So you would have to kind of dash the hopes of meeting Drifa tomorrow. It will take a little longer to get there.
Mm.
She thought that it would take. She thought that it would take a day, but it doesn't.
No,
Is
that
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 the-
Arian is kind of excited to meet Drifa tomorrow, but
Oh,
but
okay.
you as Lark would know that Spokestad
Yeah.
is a couple of days from the very edge of the bottom of the mountain.
Don't worry, you have a few days to plot while we walk.
Ha Success!
Oh dear, what have I done? Okay, I'm going. Speaking of walk, I think I need to go outside and go for a run or something. It would nod quietly to Yona in the very much so Lark is getting antsy kind of.
Right. Do you guys want to like explore the house a little more, or are you gonna get ready to go out?
Oh, Lark is just antsy. Lark doesn't want to go through somebody else's things. So they're more heading outside to look around.
Right. So
Yeah.
if you're antsy, Lark would notice that there's a rear exit door,
Hmm.
and it kind of smells like herbs coming from that way.
Hmm.
Yona has no interest in the house and kind of wants to get out.
Yeah,
So,
I think we both have the same idea.
so all right, as you guys, you know, get up and decide that maybe you want to explore the town a little bit more. This is where our story will fade to black for tonight. And as you guys still have not shared with anybody that you think that you're Valkyries, um, you're not even sure about that yourself. But you did have, you know, learn a little bit about yourself today, and you might learn more. You know, speaking to Edda, speaking to people in this village. Well, that's where we're gonna return next time.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yes. Ooh, that was so much fun. Let's go ahead and let's go around and let's you know, let my players, my lovely players, my amazing friends, tell you, you know, where you can find them and what they're going to do next. And we're going to go in the same order as in the beginning. Um, and that means we're starting with Alex. Tell us where we can find you and what you're up to.
All right. Hey, howdy, hi, y'all. My name is Alex. I use they, them pronouns. What do? I am executive producer over at Baddie Bards. We are currently doing all kinds of stuff and things for Pride Month, which is happening in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. So go follow us. Go check out what we've got going on because we've been busting our humps and we know you're gonna enjoy it. What else? If you want to see what's going on with Baddie Bards, you can follow us at beacons.ai/Baddie Bards. And if you want to hang out with me personally, what do? Whatever the fuck I want to. So you can hang out with me at beacons.ai/AlexAMA_, and you can just kick it with me on the interwebs. Yeah.
Ooh, yes, go and find everything they're doing. And next is Mermy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Merm. I played Diana tonight. And you can find me on Monday on the Sorting Key Twitch channel, where I play a buff nerd, which I love. It's like combining everybody together in this campaign, which is fun. And then on Thursday on the Meadowlark Productions Twitch channel, I am starting our first part of our finale for A Sterling Garden, which is a charity stream that benefits Gender Alchemy, which is a queer safe space in
Fresno, California, and it's going to be a big one. And my character has been kidnapped, and so it's going to be an emotional reunion with everybody back together. So highly recommend tuning into that. So yeah.
All right, that is awesome. Also, if you're looking for Mermy on Blue Sky, that is Merm Train.
Yes, Merm Train.
Merm Train. Do follow some friends on Blue Sky. And if I remember right, Alex is Alexama on Blue Sky.
Yeah, that's me.
All right. Next is Torin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Torin, Torin Talks Creativity on Twitch. As far as what I'm doing, where to find me, the easiest way to find me is on Twitch. I have all my links and everything there. And again, that's at Torin Talks Creativity. As far as what I'm doing, oh, good God, it's so much, to be honest. I don't like listing it because it goes on forever. But the next thing you can see me in, other than just my Twitch channel, on every Wednesday and Sunday, on Tuesdays every week, I'm on the Transmissions RPG that they just renamed themselves. And we are playing a weekly game for Dragon Age TTRPG called Blood and Lyrium. We're on our 3rd season. As usual, there's a lot of trauma, drama, and just general fuckery, which is very fun. And if you like Dragon Age, we play it, like I said, every week, and it's very, very fun. And yeah, that's the next thing up for me.
Yes, definitely follow Torin, because Torin also does audiobook narration.
I do. I'm a voice actor. Come follow me.
She does. Yeah, definitely got to follow that. All right, last but not least, Caldry.
Hi. You can find me on Starlets on Blue Sky. That's star and then lit with an S at the end. I can spell. But mostly I just do art, and you can find that over on Blue Sky sometimes, or mostly my YouTube channel, where I do art and cozy video games. I possibly have a few other games I'm going to be in, but for right now, this is just my lovely little corner, and any updates will probably be through Blue Sky.
Yes. Or, you can always join us at the Nerds with Dice Discord. Zoop. There you go. And hi, I'm Vivacia. You can find me on Blue Sky as Vivacia. You can also find me at vivacia.contact and .bio. That has some of this other stuff in, like some YouTube links and stuff like that. But mostly you can find me on Blue Sky, because all the other stuff is like, no, we're not doing that shit no more. Maybe I can F off all the way. And you have watched our premiere of our Vildheim campaign, Valkyrja and Ashen. We are going to be doing 12 episodes, but right now we're going to do 6 bi-weekly Friday episodes, and then we're going to take a summer break. Well, maybe there's a little cliffhanger involved. But yes, you're going to be seeing all my friends trying to figure out who they were, what they are, and what they want to do, and where everything went to. They're all going to be able to figure that out. They're going to be meeting Drifa and Edda on the way. It's going to be interesting, because I know Alex is going to dig into that thing like...
Forehound, right here, honey.
Yeah, you would like to.
And I promise you guys, there is going to be some badass shield maiden combat on some point, just not today. And else, for Nerds with Dice, there's a Discord, there's merchandise, there's YouTube. We're also going to be ending up on YouTube on some point. If you're watching this on YouTube later, I thank you. Leave us a like and subscribe. And else on the channel, join us for Emergent, which is Saturdays, 12 p.m. Central. Also, mark your calendars for June 20th through the 22nd, because Nerds with Dice will be raising money for the Trans Justice Project. And Saturday the 21st, you're gonna be seeing some of our friends right here playing a Vildheim one shot with me, where we're a little less deep and a lot more silly. Also, yeah, again, find other Nerds with Dice adventures over on YouTube, where you can watch all the saved VODs, stay updated on everything Nerds with Dice by subscribing on Substack or here. If you have a story or to tell or a game, there's a creators app open. Nerds with Dice is also on Blue Sky. And don't forget that if you want to give our players a little hiccup or a little help, if you subscribe or subscribe while we're streaming, we're going to pull a card from the Elder Furtark runes. This is like a deck of many things rune version. And with that, I hope y'all had as much fun as I did, because this was a lot of fun with all my lovelies. And I hope I see you in 2 weeks on Friday when we have our next episode of Valkyrja and Ashen Wake. All right, everybody, have a good night.
Good night, everyone. Bye.